Hey, coming up on your favorite podcast, it's another edition of Peak Cinema on a Sunday night. Lauren drops by along with Ryan, and we're going to talk about just an absolute mayhem of a classic. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm out of words. First time I've seen it in a long, long time. Face Off, the 1997 action thriller, Nick Cage, John Travolta. The movie's Banana Sandwich. I don't even know where to begin. Lauren has got a lot of notes. I got a lot of notes. We got so much to talk about here. It's going to be a pretty strong podcast this evening, so stick around. It's Peak Cinema. It's Face Off. It's Lauren. It's me. It's Ryan. It's next, and it's on the pod. Hey! It's the Tim Anderson Podcast. I'm Tim. It's Peak Cinema, so that can only mean one thing. It's Lauren. Dear Lauren on the other side of this Google Meet, along with my dear friend Ryan. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Forgive me if I'm not a little bit excited. We had some breaking news right in front of the pod for me that the mask mandate is no more as of tomorrow in the state of Minnesota, and I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. There's a little part of me that wants to do some cartwheels, and I got a bad hip, and I'm almost 40, so cartwheels not recommended for me, but I'm ready to do them anyway. Very excited. Couldn't be happier. Lauren, my goodness, dear. If you were right next to me, I'd hug you.
We can do that now.
We can hug. We're vaccinated. We can do this.
Freaking vaccinated, my friend. Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about it, like in the split second when I heard it.
Because you want to be a do-gooder, but at the same time,
yeah. But also, I've done a lot of good, I think, for the last year, and
you've done your good. Yeah, you've done your good.
I've done my good. I'm done now.
I do believe that people, like a year and a half, I think is about the max. I don't know if you can ask people to do much more as far as the right thing. Like after a while, you're like, all right, I have inconvenienced my life enough for the world. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to need a little bit of daddy's life back. Like that's just how this works, right? I mean, gotta have it.
Well, and as long as you've done your due diligence, you've been wearing the masks, you've been trying to socially distance as much as you possibly can, you get vaccinated, you get fully vaccinated, I'm good to go. That's where I'm at. I've obviously, because we've had a mask mandate, but also just because it's a part of my life now, I've still been wearing masks. We got vaccinated well over a month ago.
Yeah, me too.
But if he's going to lift it, I'm not going to question it.
Nope, not me neither. Not going to say a word. Everybody's good. Rhino, how you doing, babe?
I'm all right. I'm pretty tired today. I had a long day at work. I'm pretty happy with the mask mandate going away. I mean, obviously it was kind of immaterial to me. I don't wear my mask at my desk at work, and I rarely leave because, well, I don't like many of those people. I'm just kidding. If any of them are listening, I'm just kidding.
Nobody listens. You can say whatever you want. Say whatever you want.
So I'm not. I had a long day, but we're here on the pod, and it's good. And we're ready to talk Face Off.
Yeah, and I'm also in a great mood, Lo, because no free ads here, but I just had some Chinese from my favorite Chinese place by my house, and oh dear God, I mean that chicken lo mein.
I gotta ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that Chinese places don't advertise?
Don't need to. You know what? Here's the thing. I always like that a restaurant, any restaurant that gets on TV or radio and tells you how good they are, ain't that good. Because when they're real good, everybody tells them. That's how it works, right? They don't need to tell you when they're great. You'll tell them.
I'll name one exception to that. Love that chicken from Popeyes. That is no free advertising, but love that chicken from Popeyes.
I can't. Also, it sounds like you're in on the fish too, by the way. Which I don't know if I can't get with you on this. I don't think.
I know my wife won't because she doesn't eat fish. She doesn't like seafood.
No, fish is good, but not from Popeyes. Come on.
It's a Cajun flounder fillet.
Oh man, I don't know if I
it's deep fried. It's delicious, and it comes with tartar sauce and a pickle on that magnificent brioche bun that they have, which is just buttery smooth. It's just
no
so
free
good.
ads here. Come on, Popeyes is getting a freaking hand job for my podcast. I don't like this at all.
You get that with the 6 chocolate beignets filled with chocolate and covered in powdered sugar,
okay.
and the nice ice cold lemonade with some coleslaw. And you're working, my friend. You are working hard on that meal.
Before we get in, Lauren, I got to tell you this. Speaking of like beignets, I was at one of our restaurants that we've gone to in the past. As a double, my gal, you, Ryan. One of the desserts is fill your own donut holes. With they bring you like Bavarian cream in this syringe or chocolate in this syringe, and you just fire it into the middle of the donut hole and just have it. And the donut's amazing. First time I've ever had it. It was incredible.
Where?
This was
my
Tavern.
God.
This was Tavern, right by the house. Right by the house.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Off the charts good.
They got jelly, I assume.
Oh, they had a raspberry. They bring you 3 big syringes. A raspberry, a Bavarian cream, and a chocolate.
Is this like the Perkins thing where they bring the syrup to the table and you've got like the different flavors of syrup for your pancakes? Like if you want a blueberry jelly, you can fire that right into the donut hole.
It was like a surgeon coming in to give you a shot. It was 3 syringes with like a plastic cover, and they were like, "Doctor, here are the tools for this particular assignment." And you just,
I need 300 cc's of raspberry stat.
That's basically what it was. Like I just had to have a couple. Fire me a couple COVID vaccines worth of Bavarian cream into this donut, and we're good. It was incredible. I got to tell you, I'm going, and they give you 12 of them. They're not messing around. Like, you get to have them all day.
That is the dream. Ryan can attest to this because he keeps getting donuts on Sunday mornings. And they only ever bring one jelly donut like it isn't the most popular donut or the best donut ever created. And then we have to do this thing where I take the jelly donut and then Ryan doesn't get the jelly donut. And that must be really hard for him. Jelly donuts are the greatest thing that's ever happened to breakfast food. I'll stand on that.
Could be one of the best things that ever happened to America.
Yes, they are.
I will say that Dunkin' has historically been the spot for Sunday morning donuts here.
Yeah.
I had not had Hans donuts in a while.
They're really good.
Until Sunday.
God, no free ads, but Jesus Christ, everybody's getting some love here from us today.
It may be worth the drive up to Old Anoka.
Yeah,
to
anytime.
Go grab some Hans.
Oh yeah, anytime, my friend. Oh, got to get one of them beehives or Texas donuts. That thing that, I mean, it's so big you can bring it home. You have to move out. I mean, you don't have enough space to have the Texas donut in your apartment.
Lauren's going to come home or wake up in the morning, and I'm going to come home from Hans, and there's just going to be a Texas donut on her spot in the couch, and that's just
it.
Where
it's sorry, sit. Lauren, you're just going to have to step outside until this is done.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
This isn't what it looks like.
No, it's exactly what it looks like.
No, it is, and you know what? I get it. It's fine.
You know, it is.
Pull the old Tony Stark and say, "This is." Let's be honest. This is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Oh my goodness. Everybody's giddy. It must be the springtime weather. But Lo, we haven't had you on, and now it seems like we gotta do better. We have to do better on this podcast as far as getting up here consistently. The challenge I had, let me just say this. We have put a man on the moon in this country, and I subscribe to 3 streaming services of movies and television shows, and I can't get one. Not one that carried this film on it. Not one. And then you go out to all of these old DVD places, half-price books, whatever. Can't find it anywhere. Couldn't find it with a searchlight, a search party, a dog. Couldn't find it with anything.
Shocking, too, by the way, because I looked this up. Okay, let me start over. I picked this movie because my sister, Megan, who I know listens to this podcast, she might be the only one.
We get like 10 others, but they're in different states. I don't know who they are.
has been trying to get me to watch this movie forever. When I told her that I had picked it, she was like, this is the perfect movie for this. And so I knew it was going to be kind of like fantastically bad. And then I went and I looked up its score on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%.
92%.
There are Oscar-nominated winning movies with lower scores than that.
Yep.
92%.
92. And I get it. It's incredible. But so, you think a movie that's 92%, I mean, Jesus Christ, I found copies of movies that I'm like, are you freaking serious? This actually went to DVD? I caught the entire Stone Cold Steve Austin canon. All the movies he's ever been in that went straight to DVD. I found them all. Can't get one goddamn copy of Face Off anywhere. Anywhere.
People are hoarding it because apparently they love it that much.
Oh, Jesus. That's what it was. Nobody's like, I can't give up my copy of Face Off. Are you high? I mean, it's just... couldn't find it anywhere. So it took me a full couple of weeks just to get my hands on a copy. Thank you, Sony PlayStation. I had to go
Do you have Amazon?
Yeah.
Prime?
Yeah. I have Prime Video. And I still had to rent it. I would still have to pay $3, and I'm like, well, I'll pay $2.99 on my PlayStation, and I'll watch it down here.
Well, I have essentially done that for a handful of movies that I bought. I want to go on record and say I paid and bought Tomb Raider. It was $8.
I'm so sorry. See, I had HBO Max when that came out, so that was easy enough. But
okay.
So in the future, we're going to have to do an inventory of your collection, my collection, and what's on the streaming service before we pick the next goddamn movie. Can we just do that?
It's probably good. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I swear to you, Indiana Jones found the Ark faster than I found a copy of this damn movie. It just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Anyway, okay. The movie we are reviewing, we're going back to 1997. We've been here before. We saw this with Austin Powers, so we're not going to review all the top 10 movies of the year because we've already done that on another podcast. Go back to Austin Powers if you're curious. We are looking at the 1997 John Woo classic, and it really is, based on the numbers. It's money that it made at the box office. Dude, no, the numbers don't lie. It was huge. Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, Face Off. Face Off. Your face off.
Now, can you explain to me, does the face come off or does it stay on? I don't think that I
think the face came off.
Did it come off?
They lasered his damn face off, and they put a face on his face.
I felt like they didn't explain that enough to me. I needed at least one whole monologue more.
They didn't waste a lot of time on the exposition and the backstory on this one. This was a high concept one, to say the least. They basically said, we're going to throw something at you in the first 20 minutes, and you're probably not going to... We just need you to go with it. We just need you to go with it. It doesn't make any sense, but go with it anyway. Yes.
Hold on. For all the exposition that they did, the one thing that was never explained, why did Nicolas Cage shoot John Travolta and his kid?
Yes, oh my God. Okay, this movie begins like a bat out of hell. And it doesn't slow down.
They're swinging
2 hours, and at the beginning, at the beginning of the movie, Nicolas Cage in a mustache, so you can tell that time has passed, has shot, shoots John Travolta, and the bullet goes through John Travolta, and it kills his kid.
It's meant to kill Travolta only. But apparently the only time in Nick Cage's schedule that would work is when he was on a goddamn carousel with his kid. He's like, God, I'm just booked solid. I only got this little gap between 12:30 and 1. And, I got a shift at Jimmy John's at 2. I don't have time.
And also, this may or may not be beside the point. It does feel like Nicolas Cage is just out in broad daylight with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be hidden by anything. He's like in front of a bush. Not even behind the bush.
1990 security leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, there's just a lot going on.
In fairness, it was before 9/11.
That's
there was
fair.
no TSA. He probably flew with that sniper
probably
rifle.
sat on his lap.
On.
Yeah.
It was, it's his emotional
Stewardess,
support.
can I get a
that,
chair for? You could call them stewardesses still back then, by the way, too. So stewardess, can I get an extra chair for my gun? I don't have enough room.
He wouldn't call her
to sit
stewardess.
right
He
here.
would call her Toots.
Toots. Yeah, listen, Toots.
He would call her Peaches.
Peaches. Hey, Peaches, can you come here and suck on my tongue, as he says in the opening 5 minutes of the movie? So here's the plot. For those of you who are curious. So yes, this happens. It's a failed assassination attempt within the first few minutes. And John Travolta, since then, is a man on a mission. 6 years have passed as an FBI agent, and he is on the warpath for Castor Troy, who is the Nick Cage character, by the way. Wonderful name for a character, by the way. Great character name. I love it very much. And he's got him, and he's going to get him. And he does capture him in his bananas airplane jet hangar action scene that should be something an hour into a film, and I get it in the first 7 minutes. But before they have captured him, he has planted a bomb that will go off in the city within 9 days or 10 days. So what does he got to do? He's got to become him to get the information from the informants in the jail, his brother. So he has to do an experimental face surgery, because apparently the height and weight are negligible. A face surgery where he gets Nick Cage's face put on him, and the Travolta face just kind of hangs around in a cooler somewhere. It's like, you can have that back in about a week. We're good. Meanwhile,
that wasn't even seriously explained, because Ryan and I, 30 minutes into John Travolta being Nicolas Cage, and Ryan and I look at each other and they were like, what happened to his face? Did they just put it on Nicolas Cage and expect shenanigans not to happen? Like, none of that's explained until Nicolas Cage wakes up.
Yeah. So anyway, all's going well. He gets transplanted to the prison. He starts to get info, blah, blah, blah. By the way, the prison's banana sandwich. It's in the middle of the ocean. It's like Alcatraz, but worse.
It's Araware, which is an anagram for nowhere.
Yeah.
The facts about this movie make me joyful. It's just giddy with
The movie's so good it's got to be fattening, and it is. It's high calorie. I mean, it is what it is. But Nick Cage wakes up from the coma and demands to get Travolta's face put on him because he needs a face. And then he destroys all the evidence and kills all the people who know about this secret mission. By the way, did we mention it's a secret mission? Under the table. Only a handful of people can know about it. Which I got to tell you, in all walks of life, that's a recipe for fucking disaster. I mean, listen, only 2 people can know about this. Don't tell anybody. Bad move. Never gonna work. Terrible idea.
Performing major experimental surgery to put your son's killer's face on your face, and only 2 people know about it. But by the way, fun fact, this ends up essentially not being a problem at all.
No sweat. It's funny to me that he says the body types are negligible, height's negligible. My ass! Travolta's 25 pounds heavier. There's no way you can hide that. Anyway.
You're like, we'll just give you a haircut, and we'll just give him some hair plugs.
Just give you a haircut, and no big deal. Nick Cage goes, what the hell happened? I just gained 25 pounds. And it's ridiculous. But anyway, that's the plot. High concept, to say the least. But before we get into more of the film, let's give you some details. John Woo directs it. A lot of people consider this to be his best film, actually. John Woo's an action machine. And in the 90s was pretty hot. Was really catching fire with some things. Comes at the right time with this thing. It makes $240 million worldwide at the box office on an $80 million budget.
Jesus.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yes.
Both guys enter this film, we could argue, in just the height of their powers, right? Or pretty close, right? Maybe Travolta not quite at the height of his powers, not quite Pulp Fiction, but not bad. Pretty solid, right? And Cage, we could argue, has never been hotter.
He
red hot.
Immediately, I think within 12 hours of shooting this, of finishing shooting this movie, he goes to shoot Con Air.
Yeah, he does.
So this is peak Nick Cage.
He's in in 4 years, he's in Leaving Las Vegas, which nets him an Academy Award. I think he won for Leaving Las Vegas. Or he's nominated, but I think he won for Leaving Las Vegas. Then he does, there's Con Air, there's The Rock, there's Face Off, and then he goes on and does like Snake Eyes 8mm and a bunch of other films. And I mean, like, he's red hot right here. And City of Angels. Oh, by the way, City of Angels, let's work in there too, which maybe was one of the top films of the year that year too. So he's on fire as they head into this film. 92%, as you mentioned, on Rotten Tomatoes, and Raj loves it.
Of course he does.
Raj loves it. I can't figure Raj out anymore. I don't know what to do.
Of course he loves it. Of course he does, because I thought it was beautiful trash, and he loves it. I don't understand his thought process, and I never will.
Hey, Ryan, do you know who this movie was written for originally?
Oh, God, who?
You'll love it. You want to take a swing?
Jackie Chan?
Incorrect. That was Rush Hour you're thinking of. That's Rush Hour with Chris Tucker. No, this film was originally written. Now, you may want to sit down for this if you aren't.
Done.
Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
Doesn't it make more sense?
It does. See, when you know that, when you have the backdrop of like, it's Stallone, can you just see that? Hey, I need to change places and become him. Now, that's the thing. Who is Schwarzenegger the Travolta character? And Stallone the Cage?
I want to know, because I think it could go either way.
Yeah. You feel like they both should be John Travolta.
Yeah, right? I will say, before we move any further, I will give so much shit to this movie as we continue. That being said, John Travolta in a movie this insane, surprisingly good.
Yeah, I got to get into that because I got notes. I got so many notes on Travolta. I took some running notes along with this, as I'm sure you did as well, copious amounts. It's real. Travolta heading into this, just so everybody knows, a pretty good run from Pulp Fiction, which was 94. Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty, Broken Arrow, Phenomenon, Michael. Not a bad run. So it's not like he's sitting here scuffling and doing average stuff. Like, he's pretty much gold. You give him a film, it doesn't matter if the plot's good or not, he's going to make money with it. And that's exactly what this film is. It's also not a bad little cast all the way around. Joan Allen is in this film. Joan Allen, we got to talk about her at some point in this film. Gina Gershon's in this movie. And a couple of interesting guys for the swing for the fences part as we get closer to it. All right, are we ready to talk about this film in further depth?
I have can I just list off real quick my favorite facts, my favorite trivia facts?
Yes, give me the favorite facts, and then we'll go right into favorite scenes.
Because they're bonkers. Okay,
right, here we go.
there was an enormous amount of thought put into a movie this totally ridiculous. Apparently, the writers had written it originally to take place in the future, which would have made more sense. But John Woo chose to place it in the present to keep it grounded. And that informs all the decisions after that. So almost all of the effects are practical effects, which you can tell in the boat scene because you can very blatantly see the stunt performers' faces.
Yeah.
Oh, these are my two favorite things. Okay, so their blood types were meant to reflect their personalities.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Sean Archer, John Travolta's blood type is O negative, the universal donor, reflecting his role as being a person who gives and is dedicated to serving. Castor Troy's is AB positive, the universal recipient, representing someone who takes from society without giving anything back.
Ah, look at that.
It's great. And then also, okay, Sean Archer, you mentioned how Castor has a great name. There's a reason for it. Sean Archer is named for the Sagittarius constellation, the Archer. The constellation is diametrically the opposite of the Gemini constellation. The two stars of the Gemini constellation are Castor and Pollux.
Oh. It's somebody really smart sat down to do this.
some like Harvard degree like someone put so much thought into the movie Face Off. Too much. I would argue maybe too much.
Maybe too much, but maybe not. Maybe it's brilliant.
It's fantastic. The facts with this movie combined are just my brain, it doesn't make sense in my brain. It's short-circuiting as I'm talking right now.
Hey, Ryan, did you ever think of the line when you were watching the movie that Danny DeVito says to Andy Kaufman in what's that? It's the Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman movie with Jim Carrey, when he goes, "You're insane, but you might also be brilliant." You know, did you feel that way as you watched this movie ever?
I gotta tell you, the only thing that I thought throughout watching this movie, other than the obvious of what the hell is going on with this thing, is that guy dying? What the fuck was that? Was that even John Travolta? And then the movie ended. This movie was such a clusterfuck. I looked at Lauren after the movie ended and I said, that might be the worst movie I've ever seen.
No.
It is, but it isn't.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. This isn't like Master of Disguise or something.
Yeah, it's not Ishtar.
It's so bad. I think I loved it.
It's the same reason why I love Fast and the Furious or a Seagal movie. It's like it delivers on what it says it's going to deliver. It doesn't hide what it's going to be. That's one thing I will say about it. Like within 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting. But I kind of get swerved a little too at the same time. Like I get what they promise, but I also get something else, and I didn't expect it.
Well, that's Ryan's. I was taking notes on Ryan as I normally do, and we get like 20 minutes into the movie, and the craziest shit has happened. A child has died. A plane was playing chicken with a tank. It crashed. The craziest shit has just happened. And we're 20 minutes in, and Ryan turns to me and is like, when are they going to swap faces?
Lot of
so boring.
lot of blood splatter in the first 15, 20 minutes. Lot of splatter. A lot of people getting pushed and killed and shot just aimlessly. The other we got to talk. Maybe we should just get into scenes here. Let's go. Okay, first of all, can we talk about that opening Nick Cage scene? He's wearing the priest's outfit. They're singing Hallelujah in the choir, and he's got this bomb thing. And he's why the priest outfit? And how disturbing is that he walks up to just I have to assume some random choir girl, and he's like, it's predatorial. It's the worst thing you ever saw in your life.
Well, I can tell you right now, at a certain point I stopped taking notes because I just had to sink in what I was witnessing. But all of my notes are about how uncomfortable Nicolas Cage makes me throughout the entirety of the movie.
Yeah.
And this is like, I thought maybe like at some point it would make sense why he was wearing a priest costume, why he was groping that choir girl.
Yeah.
Like maybe she was his girlfriend or something.
Yeah, maybe she's in on it with him because she's kind of digging it.
Yes.
It's weird. Like she's sort of like, she's like, yeah, father, more of that. And I'm like, what?
The amount of women who are like just okay with Nicolas Cage's general creepiness throughout the entire movie, like America Explain. I don't. There's a woman on the plane.
Yeah.
He's calling her Peaches and he's asking her to suck his tongue, and she's so into it. She's a police officer.
Yeah, your job's to kill him. Shoot him.
What was happening?
Where's your backup? Like, what's happening here?
There's so much. There's so.
I got that. Travolta is just weird. Like, until Travolta makes the switch to Nick Cage's character, I actually think he's pretty bad. Like the first 20 minutes, he's bad. I thought he was really odd, like overly aggressive, and like he's trying to play the burnt out cop, but it's like so over the top. Like it's no nuance whatsoever. Like I wrote early on, Travolta is so bad, no nuance. It's insane. I couldn't figure him out.
This is the fundamental flaw, I think, with this movie is that both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta are trying to get across who their characters are within the first 30 minutes so hard that it is ridiculous. Like John Travolta goes all the way into, he screams at weird intervals and he's like weirdly angry and super depressed, and it's not even like he's acting that well.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage is like, how can I say this line in the weirdest fucking way possible? Every single line he said was like, what if I scream the part? What if I just screamed it? What would happen?
It's almost like Nick Cage at this moment realized like the caricature of Nick Cage is way more interesting than Nick Cage. And he's just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to give the people what they want. They want the caricature. I'm giving it to them from now on.
And that's who he's been ever since.
Yeah. I just wonder if he like short circuited in this film somewhere. Like just all of a sudden he lost his mind. I wonder if Travolta lost his mind too a little bit. So the opening 30 is weird. It's weird. And he's weird. Travolta's weird. Like the chicken thing. It's weird. Like he's driving. He's like, come on, bring it on, jet. And I'm like, what? Are you going to crash your car into the jet? What are you doing?
What were you thinking? It is a plane. He's in the plane. You're done now. And also, you have a cop in there.
Yeah. And he's just
what
like,
was the plan with her?
And that's just it. The cop gets shot right in front of him. And he's like, oh, darn it. How did that happen? Well, better keep going. Are you kidding me?
I would argue that this movie shows maybe like a hair too much, I guess, technically gore than it should. So like that scene with he throws the woman out of the plane, and you would think it would just cut away and we would infer as the audience. No, you like watch the plane run over her. And then when they're cutting the faces off, you see them cutting the I don't need to see. I believe you.
Yeah, I'll take that your word. Love that. No scarring, by the way. First of all, I will say this about that scene with the chopper on top of the jet. It's insane. It's in the first 10 minutes of the film, and it is a goddamn insane scene. Insane. And I sat there and I wrote, I feel like this belongs in like the second hour of the film, and I'm getting it in the first 10 minutes. Like, I don't know I'm not ready for it. Like, my body's not ready. Like, there's a whole lot going on there. Ryan, where were you in the first 10 minutes?
Oh, I don't know. Probably wishing that I wasn't watching this movie. Look, as I'm watching the life of John Travolta in this movie completely fall apart, first of all, like Castor Troy's not dead.
Yeah, not dead.
Right.
Even though they've cut his face off, he is not dead.
I know this is beyond the first point of the movie, but like, he's not dead. This is a man in a coma that the state, the police, are cutting his face off.
He's cutting his
in custody.
Without like a lawyer present. Where's the lawyer?
There's no
somebody?
lawyer. There's no trial. He's not even been proven guilty yet. You just have him in custody, and you're taking his face off? Where is the ACLU?
Ryan is angry at the lack of due process.
This is a huge Fourth Amendment right violation.
This upsets you. What doesn't upset you is that they were going to send him to a prison that is off the grid.
Yeah, it's not a real prison.
That the guards can just do whatever they want. They make prisoners fight.
You're wearing magnetic boots. I mean, what is going on?
Look. All of this is a problem. All of this is a problem. But
You're most egregious... defund the police if they're going to have this kind of stuff at their disposal. I tell you what.
The most egregious is that they took his face.
They took his damn face.
That is a Fourth, Fifth, and Eighth Amendment violation. Were these state or federal officers? Where is the U.S. attorney? Where is his public defender?
I don't know why I keep taking sips of my wine while you're
Don't do
talking.
it. Yeah,
Because
you might want to drink
a
more wine here
mistake.
now that he's a guy.
I keep waiting for Sam Seaborn to pop out and talk about the Fourth Amendment like he did in The West Wing, but nope, can't find him anywhere. There's no lawyers present in this world. Apparently, they can't find. There's no stunt doubles either. So I don't know why I'm not surprised that there's no lawyers in this world. But I mean, look, if all you have is cops and bad guys, then what does the law matter?
I have to say, this is all the first 25 minutes of the film.
Oh my God,
insanity.
we haven't even. How long have we been talking? We're never gonna get into the rest.
Yeah, we're 35 minutes in. I have to say this too. The dialogue, this movie, I'm telling you, it really becomes something so incredible after like minute 35. Like when we really get into the crux of this film and Travolta becomes Cage and Cage becomes Travolta, it's like, it's off the charts. Like, it's off the charts good at that point. But before that, as I wrote, the dialogue feels like someone did a Mad Lib. Like, prior to it, they were just like, all right, we need some dialogue for the scene to set up the scene in the Institute where we actually do face surgery that nobody knows about that we're doing under the table. All right, throw something out. Noun. All right. Face. Okay. Write that down. Okay. A verb. Action verb. Removal. Okay. Got it. And this is good. We're doing something. It just feels like a wacky Mad Lib that's being performed.
I did feel like I read something that said like, so they put a microchip in his throat so he would sound like Nicolas Cage.
Yep,
John
that's
Travolta
right.
would
Yep,
sound
there
like
you go.
Nicolas Cage. And I heard somewhere that it was like that was like a placeholder word for something that would make more sense. And they just
John Woo was like, we'll
else.
just go with the microchip line. That's good.
Nobody's going to notice. We just blew up a plane.
Yeah, listen, if they're questioning microchip at this stage, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're throwing so much stuff against the wall in the first 30 minutes. It's incredible to me.
Here's the thing, right? So, yeah, the microchip, we'll suspend disbelief for the microchip for the moment. Going into that part, they say, be careful because it can get dislodged and it won't work anymore. And this man gets thrown off a boat and in an explosion. He is in fistfights and gunfights and explosions, and he goes to prison, and he gets beat the crap kicked out of him, and that thing doesn't go. That is the most reliable, unreliable microchip that they could have installed.
He immediately gets in a prison fight. Like 30 seconds after they've explained that it can't be dislodged from his throat, immediately gets in a prison fight.
I know. You just think somebody in there is going to give you a Ric Flair chop of some kind of, in some kind of way. I mean, you'd think. So anyway, this thing takes off when Travolta. This is my favorite scenes. Let's go favorite scenes. I love the chopper jet scene in the first. I loved it. It's edge of your seat. I love the slow mo stuff. I love the golden gun thing that Cage. It's just terrific. It's great stuff. It's so over the top. It's so 90s. It's so just. It's like speed on speed. It's just incredible. I love the that first scene where Cage is Travolta. And they meet in that jail interrogation, and Travolta comes in, and it's like someone put a quarter in him. It was almost like he came to life. Like John Travolta was like, I don't really want to play this part. I want to play this part. And It's like he fed off of it, and he's like, Nick, in the first 20 minutes, can you just be like really weird so I can figure out what you kind of want me to do? And then like Travolta does Cage, as good as Cage does Cage, and it's incredible. And Cage does Travolta better than Travolta does Travolta. It's just like the whole thing comes together. It's so beautiful in that moment. What a great scene.
See, this is where I would disagree with you. I think that Travolta is doing a spot on Nicolas Cage impression. That man did his research. He clearly watched movies or something.
He gets credit as an actor again. Like, it's almost like his actor cred came right back. Like, he lost it in the first 25 minutes, and it was like that quickly, like, oh, he's got it back.
And it was like, oh, this is why they hired him.
Yeah.
Because he's fabulous at this.
Yes.
I think Nicolas Cage is just playing a less intense version of himself. He is by no means doing a John Travolta impression. He is just not being a crazy person.
I'll give you that.
The first 30 minutes of the movie, he's talking like he's singing a Sondheim song. It makes no fucking sense. And then in this, he's like, you know what I'll do when I'm John Travolta? I just won't do that. I'll act. It'll be nuts.
It'll be good.
They won't see it coming.
And then Travolta from there, I feel like there's like a 20-minute gap where Travolta just steals this entire thing for a while. Like, he just hijacks the whole thing. As Nick Cage, Travolta playing Nick Cage, where he drives and meets Joan Allen. Like, he drives past his own... How about a little research? It's like, where do I live? I live somewhere on this block. And then he sees Joan Allen, and it's like, okay, that's where I live. There's the 40-year-old lady that I'm doing. That's the one.
Well, okay. So I have a couple of things to say. One, so they chose John Travolta to be Nick Cage because he'd been researching him for years. He knew him so well.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage doesn't know that much about John Travolta. He doesn't even know where his house is. He doesn't even know who his wife is. How did that family, for many reasons, I suppose, why would you guess?
Why would you guess otherwise? Who's going to be
otherwise?
To say nothing of the fact that he comes in, John Travolta, as Nick Cage, and he immediately tries to have sex with the daughter.
Yes.
Oh, dear God, yes. Oh, we have to say something there. Yes.
Come on. She doesn't tell, like, her mother about this. She's, like, 16. Like, oh, my God. There's so much. That moment is, like, why? Why?
It's a little uncomfortable, but it's Travolta, like, just being... I guess that's the juxtaposition to the priest and the choir girl thing. Like, right there, you get this moment, and you're like, okay, we've got something here. But he radiates energy in these scenes.
Yeah.
And Joan Allen is like this perfect, like plays the part like perfectly. The straight character opposite this crazy person. And it's like you watch it, and it's like, man, that's terrific. That's really, really good. Well, Joan Allen's awesome in this movie.
Joan Allen is amazing, and they just I feel like they're not giving her enough.
I agree.
Like,
totally agree.
I think Joan Allen is a great actress. I think she's actually very good in this. I think P.S. I suppose we could get into this in Ingenue, but this was my only note, is that Joan Allen is a beautiful woman.
Yep.
And John Travolta drives past the house, and he's supposed to be like, who's that hot piece of ass or whatever? And it's like Joan Allen in like the most clothes I've ever seen a woman possibly put on, and they're all brown. And I'm like,
a beautiful woman in her 40s, but let's not get her confused with like with the hottest 25-year-old star of the day at that moment, whoever that would be.
But this is the thing too, is like, okay, so if this is her role, this is what makes him stop, and he's clearly trying to have sex with John Travolta's wife. I call that the second John Travolta's face went on his face.
It's like, this will end with Nick Cage's character.
That absolutely was said in our living room.
Yes. I predicted several things that happened throughout the movie.
You hit pause on the film and said, all right, 5 big predictions right now. Here's where we're going.
But I knew that was going to happen the second that surgery happened. But yeah, they're not doing Joan Allen any freaking favors.
No.
The costuming department and the writing. Like, she's supposed to be this like beautiful woman that he would want to do that. Nothing. She's wearing turtlenecks the whole time, and her general vibe is the color beige.
Yeah. Yeah, very and plain Jane, right?
Yeah.
But very good. Like it's almost like she got done playing Elizabeth Proctor in The Crucible a few years prior and was just like, I'll just keep the same clothes. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'll just wear that into this and we'll be okay. No need to change costumes.
She's a beautiful woman.
No question.
They did not need to
and
do that.
And she can
to
be
her.
seductive too. Like she had moments in that movie when they were steamy. Like downright steamy for a couple of 40-year-olds. Like I was like, man, that's not too bad right there. Joan Allen's putting some game on here.
Isn't that her in Pleasantville? Is that her in Pleasantville?
I think it might be her in Pleasantville. Yeah, I think that is.
Look at her in Pleasantville. She's freaking beautiful in that movie.
I agree with you.
She doesn't have to look like Jessica Rabbit. She doesn't have to whatever. She just has to like wear a V-neck or something.
All I'm
like
saying
that,
is if you're asking me to choose between Gina Gershon and Joan Allen in this spot, I mean, come on now. It's a second round TKO. It's not even close.
I'm not, and this is the thing. It's the costuming.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the issue. It's the costuming. They could have easily made her like a somewhat sexy woman, and they like went out of their way not to.
So that whole
out of their way.
That whole section is great, right? So the early stuff with Travolta and Joan Allen when Nick Cage is playing, when Travolta's playing the Nick Cage character. Man, I'm going to get totally goddamn confused here.
I know.
when I go through this piece. Travolta as Castor Troy, that stuff's really, really good. The scene with the daughter, creepy, but absolutely sells it. That it's like, man, yep, he's got to be just so different than what he was before. It's working. This is great. The prison escape scene, which, by the way, I absolutely love this. So he escapes, he jumps in the water, and the folks in the chopper, the police in the chopper are like, he can't swim. We're good. That's
he
it?
Can't swim.
Do you not have a boat crew who can fish him out of there? No, you're just like, let him swim. He won't make it.
There's a helicopter there. There's a boat in the water. Anybody.
And apparently he's like part
whale. Can I
just
ask again? If this thing is in the middle of nowhere, who's the governing agency? Who's responsible for this?
Who do I have to see about this? Who's getting voted out of office for this kind of nonsense?
Who's the one that's going to the congressional hearing that's happening in 6 months when the most dangerous man in the world, Castor Troy, has apparently escaped from prison and no one can own up to it?
I feel like this is under California jurisdiction, doesn't it? I mean, it has to be under California jurisdiction.
So Gavin Newsom's the one who's
Gavin Newsom needs to be recalled right now.
Well, this is, I mean, where do they think they go? Do they think, does the world just think these people disappear when they go to Erewhon or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
They just disappear off the face of the earth, these massively dangerous criminals?
Also without a trial, by the way.
Yeah. That's very true. I can't argue with any of this.
So much unconstitutional shit.
How does the lawyer get to the prison to even have a conference? Is there like a ferry that they take?
No lawyers.
No lawyers. So, what other favorite scenes do you have? Those are just a couple of mine. I probably got 100 of them, but give me a couple.
My favorite one was, you've already mentioned John Travolta as Nick Cage for the first time. Or wait, yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
That interrogation scene's top 5. It's so good.
I hate it, but I love it so much. The entire face-off monologue. So for those of you who haven't seen it, Nicolas Cage as John Travolta meets up with a bunch of Castor's old drug buddies, and he got high, and he's clearly a man who's never been high before. And he just starts saying stuff. And one of the things he just can't stop saying is, I want to take his face off. And they go, you want to take his face off? And he goes, yeah, I want to take his face off. And they go, are you sure you want to take his face off? And this goes on.
It's like who's on first, except it's like, it's just.
Except they know what they're saying.
They know what they're saying, but they're just going to keep saying it. You want his face off? The gesture, you got to add the gesture with it. Yeah, I want his face off.
Oh my God. I could watch that scene for a straight hour and be so happy. I have probably like a million, but those are my top two.
Every action scene delivers, I'll say that. As a favorite scene, every scene where there's supposed to be action, so there's gunfire, there's shootouts, there's boat chases, there's all this stuff in this film. Every single scene is good. When there's an action scene, every single action scene is good. There's not an action scene where you go, well, this is totally superfluous. We don't need this or whatever. No. They're all good. They're all the cage prison fight, everything. It's all good. Every action scene delivers at a high level every time.
That's why we're here.
Absolutely.
We're here for that stuff.
I'm here for that.
Even the boat scene at the end, which
is just banana sandwich. It's the most nonsensical thing. Gee,
at the very end, the boat like launches them off the water, and you just straight up see two stunt doubles who look nothing like the actors they're playing.
They're $1.45 each.
I can see their faces. I can see their eyeballs. If they were mouthing me something, I'd be able to figure it out. Like, no work was done to conceal that these aren't the actors.
Oh, it's so good. It says, I just think both guys, like, they get to the 30-minute mark and they're like, I'm an A-lister. Yeah, so am I. Yeah, but I'm gonna throw heat the rest of the film. Like, I'm throwing my best. I'm throwing gas the rest of the film. Oh yeah? So am I. And like each scene is just both guys throwing 105, and they're gonna both need Tommy John surgery at the end. Like, it's just like they're both getting reconstructive elbow, and they're icing it down at the end of the inning. Like, it's just the most intense. It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
It's it's awful, but I love it. I love every second of it.
Any other best scenes?
The credits.
How many ice cream sandwiches did you eat during this film, Ryan?
None, unfortunately.
We got to make sure he's happy during films, Lauren. That's your next job. You got to keep him in some kind of.
I feed him.
I am a very jolly man. I am mirthful even, and the level of rage that I felt watching this movie at times could only be described as incandescent. I truly, honestly, I swear to you, I don't have a point where a movie is so bad that it's good for me. I don't have that point. There is no tipping point for that for me. There was no suspension of disbelief. I didn't enjoy this movie. I didn't like this movie.
How? Where's your high concept? You got to appreciate. Look, you can't sit there and go, I see 29 violations of the Geneva Convention. I see 69 constitutional articles being violated. I can no longer support this because it is just so illegal.
Here's where it falls apart for me. Okay? If you're going to have a movie where you want to have it based in realism, which I guess John Woo did. I don't know what the hell he was smoking before he made this movie. I want some, first and foremost. I don't know what he was on or what he was doing, but the fact of the matter is that if you're going to base something in modern realism, it should be believable. I would have enjoyed this movie more if it was set in the future. And I think that that's the biggest issue that I take with it, is that it's a movie that's supposed to be futuristic, that's written like it's futuristic, that is modern, and it's laughable to me. I just didn't enjoy it.
Interesting.
I think I do agree with you there. Like, I feel like if this movie was set like at some random distant point in the future where they don't really have to explain how faces get off, then that's fine. And I'm like already in it and I'm already there. But the fact that it takes place in 1997, which by the way is there are people who can drink
in
this world. older than this movie. That was a time when I don't even think there was the Nokia cell phones back then.
Yeah.
So it's it's unbelievable, but I think that's why it's bad. But I think you also have to you got to push through. You got to just be in it. And I understand that that's not the intent. The intent was totally to make it let's really lean into the drama and the grunge. And that is not how it turned out in any way, shape, or form. That being said, you just got to let yourself enjoy it.
Yeah. That's kind of what had to happen. Because 30 minutes in, I was ready to just rip the movie apart. I was ready to just tear it apart. Because I was like, man, Travolta's just overwrought. It's too much, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like it awakened. It was like I came to life, and all of a sudden it was like I got it. And I want you
to lean in real close, because I want to tell you what I hear right now. I hear cowardice. I hear that you didn't want to tear this movie apart because you knew it was bad, and everyone knows it's bad, and that's why it has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's the problem with this country today, is we don't say that bad things are bad enough. And this movie's bad. This is a bad movie. It's not good. It's not good. Have the courage to say that something is bad. Have the testicular fortitude, Timothy, to say that something is bad. This movie's terrible.
I can't do it. I can't do it because I enjoyed it. Yes.
No, I enjoyed it for a similar reason not a similar reason, the same reason that I own Twilight. Which is that it's so bad it makes me happy. And I think I needed time away from it, because I was so in with Ryan on this, that this is the worst movie I had ever seen in my entire life. And then I took 5 minutes away from it, and I was like, I want to see that again.
Yeah. It was here's the problem. To me, here's a bad movie. A bad movie advertises itself as one thing and struggles to deliver on the thing that it advertises to be. That's what a bad movie is, right? That is your Divergent series or your 50 Shades of Grey series or something like that. You advertise it as one thing, and you can't deliver on the very basic things you're advertising. Now, this movie is not advertising itself as the greatest written. It's not Casablanca here, and it doesn't advertise itself to be Casablanca. It says it's Nick Cage, it's John Travolta, and it's action. And they're changing spots. That's the movie. And it delivers on that. It absolutely gives me exactly what it says it's going to give me, regardless if it's paper thin. I mean, just paper thin of a plot and mediocre at best dialogue. It doesn't matter. They delivered to me what they said they were going to deliver.
It just doesn't fuck around.
No.
It doesn't fuck around. It just is what it is, and you kind of have to love it for that. For its just earnestness. It's just a college try of a movie. It's not good, but it is great.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's great. That's it. Hey, worst scenes. Let's go to worst scenes. I got a couple.
Every scene that Nicolas
Cage is in. The boat is the worst scene.
The boats are not good.
The boat, yeah.
The whole church thing too is weird. That funeral church setup, it's it's so contrived and weird. And they're having this stare off. I love it. It's like that scene in The Office where they do that fake standoff and they're all holding like finger guns at each other. It's like a 9-way standoff in the middle of this church. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, and there are lots of doves in this church.
There's doves,
I don't know where this church is, and like
an open concept church that apparently doesn't believe in windows or doors,
on the beach in California for an officer's funeral. What is?
Yeah, you got to have this funeral done by noon because we have a couple of weddings coming in after. Can you please speed this along? That's what the doves are for. I mean.
It's in an old barn that they decommissioned and created into a Catholic church.
Yeah. It's It's not, the boat scene isn't great. That scene's a little weird to me. The one that is like double creepy now is the Danny Masterson attempted sexual assault of his daughter scene.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's a little much now.
It wasn't much then.
It's
and
much
now
then,
like
but it's even more
gross.
now.
Now it's like doubly gross.
Yeah. And you kind of like it's a bad scene, but at the same time you were kind of like, I kind of am glad that he got his ass whooped in that scene. Like really bad. Like I'm kind of glad that it wasn't a, hey, get out of here kind of scene, but actually like I'm breaking my hands through the glass and I'm beating the shit out of you scene. Like I kind of like that.
I will say that like thematically that led to, I would say the only thing in the movie that like you would have read how to do in like a writing course, which is the Chekhov's gun thing of it all. So that happens, and then they go inside, and John Travolta as Nick Cage looks at her and says, "Here, take this knife. You're gonna stab him in the leg, and you're gonna twist it so he can't take it out. If that ever happens to you again." Even though, by the way, he also tried to.
Yeah. By the way, I might be just
movie.
as creepy as Danny Masterson, but here's a knife anyway, just in case.
Yes.
But not before he drops perhaps the line of the film when he looks at her and says, well, you dress like Halloween, eventually the ghouls are going to show up, or whatever the line was, and I went, oh my God.
What is that? Oh my God. This is what? Nobody wrote that line. Don't tell me somebody wrote that line.
Some guy sitting in the writer's room going, hey guys, I got a Mad Lib. Let's try this one. I think this will play really well in that scene.
Oh my God. I mean, so much. But that's the only, I would say that's like the only thing they did in this movie that like thematically they wanted to make sense.
But at the same time, like for no fault of their own, it's a bad scene now just because of all we know about Danny Masterson.
Danny Masterson.
Yeah. It's no Gouda.
No.
Yeah.
And that ties into pretty much all of my least favorite scenes, which is anytime Nicolas Cage is attracted to anyone.
Yep.
For any reason.
Travolta as Nick Cage licks the daughter's face in that scene, which you're like, that's high-end creepy. That is restaurant quality creepiness. That is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse kind of creepiness.
I just like that.
As in very expensive.
Oh, okay.
As in it's very expensive creepiness. Not that the food is bad. No.
For those who can't see me, I'm making a face at Ruth's Chris level creepy.
No, I'm saying like a $70 plate of creepiness is what that is. Like a 365-degree, $80 plate of creepiness.
That I don't think anything has ever made me so uncomfortable. And this also, that scene comes after an entire 8 notes of mine that all say Nicolas Cage makes me uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form. Between that and the groping the choir girl, which by the way, again, costuming, why is he wearing a priest costume?
I still don't get an answer to that. I still don't know what's going on there.
No answer to that. The costuming department did not have to put him in a priest costume. They could have put him in anything.
Anything. Nope, gonna go with that.
So much of the... I could genuinely talk for the rest of this podcast about how much I hate the costuming, but I digress.
I have to say this for a worst scene only because it's in the best scene. It's in that interrogation scene where Travolta as Cage is trying to explain how he got Travolta's face on his face. He's like, well, we had to get the doctor back into the... So they basically go... And he makes a call without a voice box or a face, I'm going to assume, to his henchmen. His henchmen figure out a way to get the doctor, bring the doctor back in, but not just the doctor. The doctor apparently spills the beans about the 2 FBI agents that know about it too, and the FBI agents are lured there somehow, and you're FBI agents! Like, you can't see that coming a mile away? Like, you can't sit there and go, hang on a minute, before I go there, I better this doesn't smell right. This doesn't pass the smell test for me. No,
because literally everybody in this movie took stupid pills. everybody.
Feels way too easy and way glossed over. Like, I just killed everybody that you invested the first 20 minutes into. No big deal, right?
When they're cutting away to it, and I'm like, what are we doing? Do we have to do this? Do we have to do this exposition-y thing? I was not a fan of.
Yeah, not a great scene because, like, I felt like, all right, you had to explain it away. But it was almost like, once again, they sat in the writer's room going, we might have to explain how he got his face on his face, and then why couldn't the FBI just tell somebody that, oh, by the way, Nick Cage's character woke up out of his coma somehow and demanded the doctor give him his face.
Well, and also, like, okay, so he calls his henchmen with his regular voice.
Yep.
So they know what is going on. And then what? They just suddenly don't? Who is he talking to? Because John Travolta Nick Cage is with them later in the movie.
Yeah.
Even though allegedly they all know.
They all know.
Or at least some of them know.
Some of
what's
them.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
The logic.
Yeah.
The logic of this movie is flawed, to say the least, I think.
But still fun. I don't know. I can't say it. Any other scenes that were bad?
No, I could talk about every single one of the scenes that made me uncomfortable.
I will say the dinner scene between Joan Allen and Travolta, their first one. First of all, they're eating lobster and spaghetti. Like, did you notice Ryan, as a food guy, that you had to observe that spread and be like, I've got a problem here with just the spread in general.
I didn't, and I'll explain why. So,
his face was in his hands.
Shellfish and spaghetti are actually fairly common combinations in an Italian family, as Lauren can attest with her Nana's fish sauce and the shellfish that happened at the Christmas dinner, which is a special occasion in Lauren's family. However, the shellfish and red sauce combination is fairly common.
We don't have lobster. I want to put that out there.
I was going to say, life's good at the Kane house. I'm going there.
We do not have lobster, and I don't eat the fish sauce.
I just looked at the spread, and I'm like, it's just those two eating. Like, they've got, like, 8 lobster there, and, like, a gigantic thing of spaghetti. It's just those two. Like, who the hell's eating all of that?
Joan Allen's sweater collection.
Yeah, Joan Allen is like $1.05. It looks like she doesn't even eat half of a lobster, and you're expecting her to put down 2-3? She's tired. Don't you notice she's already trying to, like, rub the pain out of her legs and stuff? Like, she doesn't have room for dinner here.
Joan Allen does not have room or time for anybody's shit.
No, none.
That's the least believable part of this movie, is that she would put even though the idea is that John Travolta as Nicolas Cage is, like, smooth and sexy and whatever. Joan Allen does not have time for his shit. I can see it in her eyes.
Oh, so good. All right, that brings us to the ingenue, up or down. We have to say Joan Allen's the ingenue. I have to ask you this. Is there a career, like Joan Allen, if you look at her body of work, her IMDb, it really doesn't take off until late 30s, early 40s. Like, she doesn't have this run as a young ingenue. It's almost like she became Glenn Close, but like a poor man's Glenn Close. I'm just saying, is there another life, or if we ran back Joan Allen's career 10 times, is there 1 or 2 occasions where she is Glenn Close? Like, to me, that's the comp, right? To me, that's the comp.
I mean, I personally think she's super talented, and I don't know if she's Glenn Close. I think she has, like, the Holly Hunter thing going on, like we talked about in Raising Arizona, where it's like they're very good in everything, but they are pretty much a version of themselves in everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's why maybe her career didn't take off until she was in her 30s, in her 40s, because that was just kind of like the energy she exuded.
That's what, yeah, she plays, she's like a wife, a doctor, a professional woman. Like, that's what she looks like, and that's what she is. And, like, that's what we cast her as in the 90s. And unfortunately, I don't know if women, especially women in their 40s, were written. I still don't know if they're written all that well, to be perfectly honest. but I don't think they were written, unless your name was Meryl Streep or something. I don't think they were written very well.
Women in general are not usually written very well by other guys, especially specifically any woman above the age of 25. I mean, it's always a certain archetype. It's always a certain kind of character. And that's what bothered me about Joan Allen in this movie, not her. I want to make that very clear. Joan Allen did not bother me.
Yep.
The shit she puts up with in this movie bothers me. Yeah. The fact that she has like no character and like just no personality. She is the color beige.
Yeah.
She just is from head to toe the color beige. It just did her no freaking favors.
So we like her, but do we like her in this movie? Is it an up or down?
I would say down in this movie, but not her fault.
Yeah, down too, but not hers. Not her fault. I like Joan Allen. She's too good for this movie.
She is.
She's just too good. Like they needed to give this part to, give it to some TV mom. Give it to Patricia Richardson from Home Improvement or something. Give it to somebody she doesn't have cachet, because they don't need her to sell this film.
No.
Go get somebody with very little cachet and she'll be fine in this role. Just fine.
Well, to some extent, I also feel similar about Gina Gershon. Gina Gershon is like barely in this movie.
Yeah. She deserved better. She deserves better.
Her character actually has like a bit of meat to it.
Yeah.
But you barely see her. You barely see her. You barely get to know
I found myself wanting more Gina Gershon. I mean, I say that as a general rule, usually in life. I kind of operate my life that way. It's actually in my life constitution that I'd like to have more Gina Gershon in my life, but I seldom get what I want. So it's just the way I feel. But I say this in this movie, I just felt like I needed more Gina Gershon. I just needed more. What can I say?
I needed more of her. Yeah.
Our swing for the fences character. There's a few nominees for this. People who were just in for a minute or 2 minutes, swung for it, and I thought did some cool things. I've got one. What do you got?
I've got Castor Troy's friend who gets shot in the neck and says, "We had some good times, didn't we?" and then falls over dead.
That's fabulous.
Oh, it's so good. I went with the prison guard, John Carroll Lynch, because we've seen him in a lot. I've seen him in a ton of stuff. Obviously, he was in a lot of Coen Brothers stuff. He's in Fargo as Frances McDormand's husband in that movie. Great character in like a 1-episode run on The Walking Dead, but it was a great character. Like, he's good. Like, he's a good character actor, and he's only in this movie for like 10 minutes, and you're like, dude, that guy's good. Like, he needs to be doing different stuff. Like, he was in Fargo, for Christ's sake.
John Carroll Lynch is like, I feel like the character actor you kind of want to be.
Yeah.
Like he's just in for a penny and a pound in everything you've ever seen. And he's just fabulous in everything.
Yeah. He could play nice guys. He could play dickheads. Like, I kind of like a character like that.
I don't have his IMDb up in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's him in American Horror Story. He plays the killer clown.
That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know because I haven't seen that much, but yeah, I think you might be right. So he's my guy for this film. I like that. What do you got?
I would say him or
you gonna go Danny Masterson?
I don't. No,
he's not swinging for the fences. Although you could argue maybe he is.
I don't know the actor's name. I just know that he played Andy Belfleur on True Blood, but he's the guy that quote unquote Nick Cage gets in a fight with in the jail, and then he uses him to help him escape.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Sure. Yep.
He just has this pure face.
Yep.
And I feel so bad for him. And I just like him.
Yep. Another one is
There's not much more to it.
Is like Cch Pounder plays her traditional role of like, I am the authoritative black female actress. And I was a little surprised she's killed off 20 minutes into the movie because I'm like, that chick's in a lot of stuff. Like,
she was in The West Wing for a minute too.
Yeah, I'm like, that lady's in a lot of stuff, and she's always playing this kind of character. Always playing this kind of character.
By a minute, I mean she was literally in it for one episode.
Yeah, for 1 minute. I think for like One, but like who she's the person who has like a face where you go, oh, her. That's what you say. You're like, oh, it's her. I know her. I've seen her and stuff. Her. Yeah.
Oh, also, Margaret Cho.
Yeah, Margaret Cho is in there for like 6 minutes.
I have no idea why Margaret Cho is in this movie, which I think is great. And then she has like one line, basically, where she looks at him and says something nobody says, which is, sir, did you have major surgery? And he goes, no, I don't have because to get the stick out of your ass, the joke that nobody makes.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Amazing.
Yeah, it's almost like when you saw Margaret Cho on there, you thought she's going to be funny. And like they give her very few laugh lines, like nothing. They give her nothing to work with. No. She's the most lifeless like milquetoast character in the history of the world. You're like, that's Margaret Cho. Come on. Give her like
3 lines in the whole movie.
You think she'll crack a joke about something? Anyway. All right, let's get to the rankings. As you know, we're former speech judges and current speech coaches, so we rank on the 1 to 5 system. Who wins this movie?
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Yeah, I had Nick Cage, but you know what? The more we talk about it, the more I'm thinking it's John Travolta. When he makes the switch to Cage, like he cranks it up to 11. Mm-hmm. And I think Travolta wins this movie. I'm with you now. Yeah. All 3 judges, he sweeps it. Cage gets a 2.
I don't know how I feel about Cage. I think the more time that I've spent away from this movie, I want to rank him higher, but I can't give him a 2.
I'm giving Cage the 2. Where are you going, Ryan?
I think my 2 goes to Cage.
Who goes for your 2 then?
Joan Allen, I guess.
We just said she didn't do anything.
She is good in this movie. It is not her fault that they suck around her.
So she's a 2.
Yeah.
I've got her as a 3. Ryan, who's your 3?
I'm with you, Tim. I'm going with Joan Allen.
Yeah.
I'm doing Nick Cage at 3.
Nick Cage is a 3.
He just does not deserve a 2. He's just because he's
Does he follow? Does he not work as Travolta in your opinion? Like when he plays this sort of understated thing, it's not good?
No, because it's not. It's not an impression of John Travolta, which is what the role is supposed to be. It's just him not high. The whole first 30 minutes of the movie, he is on meth. And then for the rest of the movie, he's just not.
He's on Advil. The rest of
He's on Advil.
Advil. Number 4. Who gets your 4?
I think Gina Gershon.
Ryan?
Man, I think for me, it's the I'm going to put my swing for the fences guy here, that friend of theirs who bled from the neck until dead. While John Travolta, Nick Cage as John Travolta realized that his son would come and live with him and Joan Allen at their suburban home, like officers do all the time.
I love that he springs it. We haven't even talked about that. I love how he just springs it on him after surgery. Oh, by the way, here's our new son.
Here's our new son, who's the same age and height as the child that died.
And they're just like, 6 years ago. Let me just take you up to the room here. Yeah, no problem. And it's like
nothing creepy about that.
Nothing weird about that at all.
No,
Lauren, if I showed up tomorrow after being gone for a month with a kid, what would you say?
What? Get out.
I'd be like, can we talk about this in the other room for just a minute, please?
No, you know what I would do? I would walk up to the kid and I would bend down and I would just rub my hands, my grubby hands.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. The whole face rubbing thing. We haven't even talked about that. We need another hour here. No, anyway.
I don't know if I can handle another hour of face-off talk.
My 4th is Pollux Troy. I'm going to give it to the character the guy who played Pollux Troy. I think it's Navallo, I think is his last name. He's an actor I'd never really seen her before. He's another one of those guys where I think I've seen his face, but I couldn't picture what he's been in. But he's just weird. He's kind of weird and goofy, but he sticks out. And I don't know. He's just kind of there. I like him. He's 4. I have Gershon as 5. Gina Gershon's 5. Underused. Needs more. Needs a lot more here.
Yeah. I have either Pollux at 5 or I can't remember his name. The bald drug guy.
Yeah, Dietrich or whatever his name is, or whatever. Yep, I'm with you there. Yeah. The one who plays the Who's On First thing with Cage with the face off.
Which, by the way, I'm pretty confident that was an improvised monologue of his. So for the bald actor. The bald actor, I don't know his fucking name, for that guy to just like I'm gonna yes and this weird thing that you're doing, Nicolas Cage, and it is just the most perfect thing I've ever seen in my life. So that guy gets my 5.
All right, Ryan, you're gonna love this. Just to close out this conversation, they're talking about a remake. And maybe even like a rebooted sequel down the road or something.
Only if it's Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan will I accept this remake of Face Off. I think that those two would be the ideal casting for this.
That's just because you know how in love with both of them I am.
Yeah, I mostly
Lauren
said
would
that
see it
to
in the
get my life
theaters.
going.
Lauren would see it in the theaters. She would be a front row seat.
Yes.
Yep. I got to tell you, I'd be in. I would be in. There's a number of actors that I would be in for a remake of Face Off if I could see them in it. I feel like Evans and Stan is not bad. I will say that. That is not bad.
That is a real drama, that movie, with the two of them.
Yeah, I need 2 A-list guys right now. So Evans wouldn't be a bad option, but who would be the other guy? But they got to be kind of weird.
They do. This is the problem is that Evans and Stan are great actors, but they're
weird.
They're too good. They're not weird. Like
Chris Pratt's a little weird, but not weird, not really weird necessarily.
Not weird, like funny weird.
Yeah,
not
Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson could play.
Oh my god, that would be perfect.
I love those two together. They would be. That's the remake. Let's go there. Let's go there. Thank you. Tiffany Haddish can play Joan Allen's character.
Yes.
Yes, because I think she'd give it life no matter what. She'd look at the script and go, the script's bullshit. I'm going to just start ad-libbing and do my own thing here.
Good.
And I'd be like, yeah, good. I'm in. 100%. Do it. You're funny. Just do whatever you want. Do whatever the hell you want.
Just no script. Just watch this movie and make something up.
Or they got to go females. Go females with this. Go gender. Reverse the genders. Go like Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon.
Oh, yes.
I would see that 100 times. I would see it 100 times.
Yes.
Oh,
Melissa McCarthy and somebody.
Nah, I'd get an ass full of her right away. I'd cast her as Margaret Cho's character. That's who she'd be. I'd be like, you get 6 lines and you're over here. That's what you get. Oh,
Melissa
Sandra
McCarthy
Bullock though. Sandra Bullock as the Travolta. And then you got to get somebody Kate McKinnon's perfect because she plays wacky and weird and goofy, or Wig or something like that. Go opposite.
She does, but not in the same way that Nick Cage.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
God, it's just so hard to cast the Nick Cage part because
I can't do this anymore.
Okay, fine. You know what, folks? In the end, I recommend it to you. It's still watchable. It's an extremely watchable film. It's just suspend your if you go in, treat it like the Fast and the Furious, or like a Seagal film. Treat it like that. Just go in there going, all right, I'm going to see the most ridiculous 2 hours of my life, and it's going to be bananas. You will. I think you'll enjoy it at the end.
I'm going to agree with Tim on that and say treat it like a Fast and Furious movie or a Seagal movie, neither of which I've seen.
Okay.
Do like me.
We're going to get Ryan to see Under Siege before our time is through. I promise you that. Mark my words, Ryan. You will see a Seagal film in the next year or two. I promise you.
Only if it's for this podcast, and expect the reaction to be very close to this.
No. I bet you if you see Under Siege, you're going to come back and go, Under Siege is fucking awesome. Are you kidding me? Because Under Siege is awesome.
I will go into it with an open mind, like I went into this with an open mind.
I'm sure you did. Although you came away with, does it sure you up now that your principles, your legal principles, your constitutional values, did it strengthen those?
Tim, I'm ready to run for office on these principles.
I am surprised that you even had principles or coherent thoughts during this film. Because you're mentioning this, and it's like the first time I've ever thought how unconstitutional so much of what they're doing is, because I was so focused.
That's the problem with today's society, Lauren. Is too few people really think about the constitutionality of fictional police officers.
Oh my God.
That's a lesson.
We need to pick more movies like this, though, because this might have been the most fun peak cinema I've ever had. 1 hour and 25 minutes. It has been such a delight. Oh my goodness. I want to thank everybody for listening to Peak Cinema today with Lauren. You can find her on Twitter at GoFuckYourself. You spell it, figure it out for yourself. It's a weird spelling. Just handle it. Do your best. Ryan Nelson Kane, as always, you can find him at Sweet Kane Music or wherever he is talking on a soapbox somewhere. You can find me, Tim Anderson Pod on Twitter, Mr. Tim Anderson on Instagram. You can email the show at timpodcast1@yahoo.com. Subscribe, share, rate 5 stars, do everything that you would normally do for other podcasts, but do it for us too. Give me a little love. Show me some love. Come on now. Take care of me. Although the listenership's been always good for Lauren, so everybody loves when Lauren comes on. I hope they do it again for us. And we will have another film very soon. And Lauren and I are going to sit down and hammer that out as soon as this podcast is over. We're going to have some options, and it's going to be great. So I want to thank you again for listening. And on behalf of Lauren and Ryan, this is Tim saying keep your head up, and we'll see you next time. No masks, people! Live your life. It's going to be a great summer. We'll see you next time.